Hello, welcome. My name is Nancy. I homeschool two boys. We homeschool year round. So we technically already finished our fourth grade year and our sixth grade year, even though it is April. But we're already, since we homeschool year round, diving into stuff. So the book planning that we're about to go through is for my rising fifth grader, rising seventh grader. But you know what I thought would be really interesting to throw in there, in addition to my plans on what we plan on reading this upcoming week, is what we didn't get to. Because not all the time do we get to what we originally planned, you know? So I'll be sharing that and talking about that too. Subscribe if you want to see more.
Okay, guys, so I figured let's do a recap on last week. So this is something that we're probably going to be on for a couple weeks. This is something that my son is reading independently, 15 minutes per school day. This is also something that is going to be ongoing because we're barely a quarter of the way through. We just read one short section every school day. This one I'm actually hoping to put at the forefront and be done with by the end of this week, if not next week. But there's so many great conversations to be had with this that really you just need to sit there and marinate with it. So the theme in this book is identity, socioeconomic, gender, race, a whole bunch of things, or at least that's how I'm approaching it. And that's how I'm approaching it with my sixth grader in the conversations that we're having because of this. But this actually has turned into somewhat of a family book. What originally was a mommy and me type of book that I was doing with my sixth grader, my fourth grader has since joined and he's invested in the story as well. We did not get to this last week, so this week I do plan on doing this. We're going to do one more week's worth. This is going to be something that's probably going to get rotated in and out. We do this with geography, and so we read a few stories like a day, and then that's it. But I don't want too much of a good thing, you know? And we are going to be on our U.S. history and geography track for 2 years. So it's going to be one of those things that I cycle in and out. So we did it last week. We're going to continue to do it this upcoming week and then probably take like a little bit of a break. This we did not get to last week, but we will this week. But I found a really great one. I'll show it to you guys here shortly in the upcoming stack. I got it from the library. I just came back from it and it was a really great find. But I like this one too. So I do still plan on reading this next week, but I don't know. Plans may change. I may just do the other one. So I don't know. We completed this one. I thought it was really well done. There's an audio that goes along with it, which is also really well done. You know, we did it family style. I didn't think it was too mature for my fourth grader, but again, to each their own, you know, do the research. There's a good sample of it on Amazon that you can go and look, and the audio samples and stuff. There wasn't anything, too graphic or anything, but it was very educational. And then this we finished, which is no surprise because this was way below grade level for my son. But again, it centers on the theme of identity, and it's part of a fish tank unit that I wanted him to do. And so what we're going to do this upcoming week is we're using that same fish tank level. And even though we're done reading with this, I'm extending that because now we're going to be doing a paper. We're doing a narrative paper, and I'm going to use this as the basis for it. And we're going to be doing on grade level work. First of all the work that we did with this was on grade level. It was just the reading that was below grade level. But I don't mind that. Like, who cares, you know? So the way that I assigned this was he read this independently and he read 2 to 3 chapters a school day. So we did this Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And I think there was 10 chapters. So I don't know. So he did about 3.5 or whatever, right? So then he did this, and I had written prompts that I took from Fish Tank because I think Fish Tank, this is listed at a 3rd grade. This was part of one of their 3rd grade units. Some of the questions that they were asking, they did not feel like 3rd grade. I felt like it was very advanced, you know? But what I did is I turned that, and he did paragraph prompt, and we continued to work on our writing with that. And after every reading, I had a written prompt for him to respond to out of his notebook. And so it was very, I didn't want to say easy. It was, but it was a very easy way of integrating this into our ELA block. That's what I want to say, you know? So the reading was below grade level, but the writing assignments, I would just beef it up a little bit. You know what I mean? So I don't let like grade level stuff like that stop me. We finished Alice in Wonderland. We were on it for about 3 weeks, possibly a little bit longer. And we finished it into the Looking Glass and Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Yeah, Through the Looking Glass and Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. Because if you do this, you might as well do this. You know what I mean? You kind of have to. This is where you get Twiddledee and Twiddledum and Humpty Dumpty, and you kind of get like, you just kind of need that part, you know? So anyway, so we did that, and then I already talked about that. Okay, so that was everything from last week. Okay, let me reset and I'll be back with my intended plan for next week. Okay, I forgot a couple other books, by the way. Return to Sender. We're probably going to be on this for another 2 weeks. This is a fish tank unit, and my oldest is doing this. I think this is slotted at the 5th grade level. But again, just go according to the books that you're interested in. You can always match the rigor to it, but it is the content itself, you know, that I would match it to whatever book that you're interested in reading, you know. The conversations to this, honestly, though, are pretty deep. And so, you know, I like that one. George Washington's World, we're still going to be on this for probably the rest of this month and then going into next month a little bit. You know what I mean? So I'm not even going to mention this in future videos because it's just a given. It's just a given. We're continuing to read our way through it. Actually, this is my son is reading this independently. It's just a given. It's a given that we are not done with this yet. So I'm not going to mention it. I'm going to mention it whenever we're done. Okay, a couple other books that I just want to mention with my 4th grader. For his math, this is one of the maths he's doing. He's also doing Eureka. This is the book that goes along with it. So sometime this week, that's going to be read. And then for his science, this is the book that's going to go with this unit. And so this is the book that's going to be read, in addition to a couple other books. Okay, so the book that I found from the library that I actually really like is this one, Ben Franklin's Almanac Being a True Account of the Good Gentleman's Life by Candace Fleming. I really like it. And so I'm debating about whether to read both of the Benjamin Franklin ones, and my boys don't mind the deep dive into Ben Franklin because they've expressed an interest in learning more about him. Him and William Penn. And so with William Penn, we are also going to be diving a little bit deeper. But this is a really neat one. It's gonna be not one that we read in a 1 week span. This is gonna be something that we probably take a couple weeks over and then read it out loud, or do this as an independent read for my oldest, depending, because I also have this one for my youngest. And this is Show Me History by Benjamin Franklin. So maybe I do a combination of he reads this during our history block for 15 minutes of independent read throughout the week. And then my oldest reads this. But see, I find it really interesting and I want to be reading it too. And then maybe we do the other narrative version of Benjamin Franklin, the one that I just shared with you guys. Maybe that one is our read aloud. This maybe is an independent read for my oldest, and then this one for my youngest. So I don't know. So I'm still trying to figure that out, you know? I am going to get to Born on the Water, the 1619 project. I'm super excited for this. This has been on my to be read list forever. We're also going to be reading this, Winslow Homer. And this is going to be part of our art focus block for the week. It's not actually just for the week. It's going to be a couple weeks in that we're going to be doing that. And then for our morning, what we're going to be doing is I am subbing out one of the books that we usually read in the morning, and instead we're going to do this. So this is done in poetry form, and this is going to tie in really nicely with that. So maybe I sub out our Memoria Press poetry block for right now while we read through this, you know, for the next week or two, you know. So we're going to do that. And then for my youngest, we are going to be reading out of these two things. Now, this is not going to be something that this is going to be something we read cover to cover, but this is not going to be something that's done within 1 week. This is something that with his science throughout the semester, we are going to be rotating in and out of reading from here or reading from here. We're going to be doing some notebooking and all that kind of stuff. In addition to that, this one as well, with my youngest. And then with my youngest also kind of doing this and just briefly going over it and doing it as a quick read throughout this week, you know. And then we have this, So Said Ben, drawings by Michael McCurdy. And this is just really fun sayings, you know, and an explanation underneath. And I thought that that would be fun to incorporate. Okay, I just have a couple more books. So for our geography block, we are going to be reading from this. And I got this from the library, but I think I'm going to purchase it because I think that this is so cool. Your travel guide to Pennsylvania's local legends and best kept secrets. If you like exploring, well, this won't help you if you don't live in Pennsylvania, but if you live in Pennsylvania and you like exploring and doing like different things, like if you like geocaching and you like that kind of stuff, then this would be really awesome. And so we're into this kind of stuff. We're into like these off the beaten path type of locations. Like in one of them, there was a fallout shelter that was near us along the Susquehanna River. And so like there's stories like this church in here. What is this? They all flock to various parts of Pennsylvania to build a large congregation. And then it's going into like the history. So us traveling and going to some of these places, I thought would be really fun. So just reading from this book, we actually did this one. We've actually been there twice, but it's not as safe to like do it anymore. Right? This is the one that I'm thinking of. It's in a really, I think this is the one that we did. No, I think this is a different one actually. Or it might be the same one, but there is a tunnel that used to be like a toll bridge, probably about 30-45 minutes away, that is abandoned now, that you can actually go all the way in, and even the toll rooms and stuff like that used to be open, I think. But to get there, you have to kind of like hike like a mile in. And the last time we went, there was reports of it being overtaken by like homeless people and people like living in the woods and stuff, and it wasn't as safe because if you go, you're hiking in the mountains for about a mile and it's pretty flat, but there's not gonna, like, something happens, there's no like nobody there to help you. Like it is like, you know what I mean? Like if you go down this path, you go down this path, like knowing that, you know, if something were to happen, nobody's going to get to you on time. Do you know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to hear you scream type of situation. And so the last time that we went, it felt a little too edgy at that point. When we went the first time, it was crowded enough that there was people like that you would come across every now and then on the path and stuff. And when you'd get here, there was enough people like inside that it was like, okay, safety in numbers type of thing. Last time we went, nobody on the road, and then there was all these tents like in the woods, and it was just a creepy vibe. Nobody at the tunnel and stuff, and it was just creep vibes like all the way. So we haven't been back, but anyway, we like things like that but in a safer way, right? And so we're hoping that we find some of these other cool like locations and stuff that are somewhat within a driving distance to us that we can go and like visit. Because I'm telling you, there was one that was like a fallout shelter, and you can find a fallout shelter from the 1950. No, it's not this one. But see, like, this is cool stuff. It's not on your typical tourist sites type of thing. You know what I mean? What else? Like weird stores like this. Like, what is that? A backyard zoo in Fayette County? A 200-year-old town built on land owned by George Washington before the Revolutionary War. But see, like weird random things like that. Like, look at this railroad house. And so we oh, here it is, right over here. This fallout shelter on this 100-acre farm. And then it tells you exactly where it's like located. So anyway, that is right up our alley. So I wanted to do that. For geography, the books that we're mainly going to be using this week while we do the Memoria Press curriculum is we're going to be using the 50 States and the 50 Adventures in the States. Because I like to switch up the books that we're using to find the information that's required to put inside the Memoria Press like curriculum that we're doing. I like to switch it up because if I don't, that activity is done in like 1 minute. Like, no joke. Like, my kids know immediately, okay, state abbreviation, capital, like, quickly write down a fun fact. It becomes very robotic. It becomes very rote. You know what I mean? And so I don't want that. I want us to linger. Our geography is not meant to be done in less than 30 seconds, you know? And so I want us to look through the books, discuss. And I like to do other things and incorporate other books to extend it a little bit more, you know? But anyway, so that is the plan. And we'll see next Sunday what I actually get to. Like, I always surprise myself, like, these are my goals, but do I expect to read all the things that I just covered? Like, no, there's gonna be one or two that fall under the cracks, or we could have a really bad week and maybe we don't get to hardly any of the ones for whatever reason. Maybe we come down with like a cold or something. But these are my plans for us to continue doing. And I'm not going to mention anymore some of the ones that we're currently still doing, like this and like this one. I'm not going to mention it anymore because it's just a given. It's a given that we're still working our way through it. But I will mention whenever we're done. Like this one, I'm not going to bring it up again. And this one, I'm not going to bring up again, or this one, because it's just a given that we're working our way through it. It's not going to be done in 1 week, you know? But hopefully you guys are enjoying this series. I enjoy things like this, seeing other people do it, because I get book ideas, I get ideas on how to incorporate it into our school and stuff. So hopefully it's helping you guys out. It's helping me talking it out with you guys, even though you guys can't talk back to me in real time, but at least like talking it out, it's like kind of like, it's, I guess, the same principle as when you plan out physically, like in your planner, right? It's just a process of figuring all these things out and talking it over with someone. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for being that person for me. All right, guys. Bye.